Thank you for joining me for this training. It's going to be a fun training as always. And today we are talking about employee engagement. And this has been a hot topic for years, and it's never been more relevant than it is today in the world that we live in 2024. So I'm just going to share with you a few ideas on how to keep your employees engaged, whether you work in the for-profit world or the non-profit world, it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to share with you 7 crucial tactics. And these are real strategies and tactics that you can use to engage your employees. So let's get to it. For those who don't know who I am, my name is Isaac Wambua. I am the founder and CEO of Dynamo Methods, and we specialize in training and developing leaders, middle managers, executives, supervisors on leadership management, communication, conflict resolution, and I do professional speaking as well, and it's fun. Let's get to the training. The topic today is how to retain your top talent, 7 crucial tactics to keep your employees engaged. You and I know that in the world that we live in, and I'm talking about the fast paced business world that we are in, it's important for us to slow down so that we can speed up. This morning, I was speaking at an event, and this is a group that has entrepreneurs, salespeople, people that are really out there making it happen. And one of the basic but also very powerful concepts I shared with them was the aspect of slowing down. And it's a 3-step process. You back up, you speed up, and then you go up. It's a very simple concept. Many times we find ourselves just grinding and moving fast because that's how we've been conditioned to do. So in this context, when we talk about employee engagement, is slowing down and to an extent backing up and asking yourself, how engaged are my employees? How engaged is my team? Yes, they're showing up to work on time. They're getting their job done, but are they truly engaged? Yesterday, we had one of the leadership teams complete a training program that we took them through. And the CEO said, we work really hard. And it's a company that's in a very fast paced industry. She said, we work really hard, and I know how much sacrifice you put into what you do. And she said, don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to slow down. Don't forget to take a day off if you need to. So that came from the CEO. She's very much aware of what can potentially happen if you just keep on going. So when it comes to employee engagement, it's going to pay off for you as a leader to slow down and ask yourself those questions. How are my people doing? How engaged are they? Are they sold into the mission? Are they living that mission? Are they spreading the message about the mission you are on as an organization? So let's get to the 7 tactics on how to keep your employees engaged. Number 1 is to cultivate a culture of open communication. Communication is as old as the world has been around. And I remember when I went through a communication training, the first formal communication training I went through was in college. And ideally, what we learned was just history of communication, the basic methods and means and mediums of communication. But we didn't really, in this case, the professor and us as a class, we didn't get deep into the impact that communication has on our lives, the impact that communication has on our performance, the impact that communication has on the results that we get. Now, you get a job and you realize communication is not everything, but it's one of the top things that you truly have to master if you want to become exceptional as a leader. So being able to cultivate open communication, and by this I mean you being able to speak freely about what's happening within your team, performance wise or otherwise, you being able to speak freely about how you feel about what's happening, whether your people are performing well or not, and you being able to influence your people to see the big picture, number 1, but also keep moving towards the big goal and the big picture. I'm convinced that you can only do that effectively if you know how to communicate. If you can use your words well, if you can use your tone of voice well, if you can use your body language very well. And I'm not talking about paying attention to everything. When you become that great communicator, you don't have to think about it. Basically, it becomes second nature to you. So the other side of open communication is training and coaching your people to have the capability to communicate with you on what they see, what they're observing, how they are feeling, and what they think about what's happening, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. It doesn't matter. Having that open communication is going to be very helpful. The only condition we give, and I believe you're a great leader, but I'm just going to remind you, the only condition we suggest is as you talk to your people, as they communicate with you and as you communicate with them, is to make sure that you exercise two things. Number one, be professional and be respectful. Being professional, you know what that means. Being respectful is acknowledging people for who they are, respecting them for who they are, not looking down upon people because we are all at different levels. If you've been a leader and a great communicator for a long time, you've mastered that. It's become second nature to you. But when you have someone who is new in their industry, a new leader or maybe a new employee, they are likely to stumble over their words. So be patient with them. And that means even when they look like they don't know what they're talking about, be patient with them. And that's part of respecting them. So tactic number one is to cultivate a culture of open communication. Number two is to recognize and reward contributions. I believe every single person out there, you and me, we desire to be recognized. There are three things that every single person desires for. Every person wants to feel special. Everyone wants to feel like they belong. They want to be accepted. That's why we have tribes and we have groups and we have communities and we feel good being a part of those communities. This morning, I was speaking at the business club that I've been a member there for 7 years, 3 months, and 22 days. And I remember because that group has been instrumental to me. Now, it's a place whenever I walk in, there are other entrepreneurs, other business owners. I feel like I belong. It's part of my tribe, it's part of my community. And I believe all of us crave for something like that. So everybody wants to feel like they belong. They want to be accepted. They want to feel like they are part of a great tribe and a great community. And number three, every single person wants to feel and they want to know that they are actually making a contribution to someone's life, to an organization, to a cause, to a mission. They want to feel like they are making a contribution. So, three things: they want to feel special, they want to feel like they belong, and they want to feel like they are making a contribution. So, when you recognize and reward contributions within your team, that's one of the best ways and one of the most effective ways to increase engagement within your team. Number three is to invest in professional development. And the key word is investing. An investment is something you put in and you get a bigger output. You put in 2, you get 4. You put 3, you get 6, or even more than that. In your team, when you talk about investing in professional development, it's all about looking at your team and asking yourself, what's their potential? Of course, individually, you look at their potential. When you sit down with someone, you ask them, what are your dreams and what are your goals? What are your natural abilities and capabilities? And what are you good at? What are you desiring to do and to become? What kind of skills do you feel you need to do a good job? When you do that and then come up with a plan to help them to get there, a professional development plan, a personal development plan, a career development plan, that's one of the best ways to increase employee engagement. Because again, engagement is way more than just people showing up to work and getting their job done and showing up to the company picnic. It's about them being emotionally connected to your company and the mission that you are on and actually expressing that without having to think about it because they are so into it. Yesterday, I sat down with a group of leaders. It was a group of 15. There were 15 in that room, including the CEO. And I decided to ask a question and I said, for each one of you, I would like to pick one person in the room. And I just want you to tell us what you like the most about. Think in terms of their abilities, their capabilities, their skills. What are some of the things you feel they're really good at to an extent it's second nature to them? And it was amazing. People went around and they talked about each other. Some people I talked about more than once. And I saw that back and forth. And one particular incident happened. One of the ladies said something about someone else who used to work under them in the same company. So the lady came in, she was working under this one lady that was her boss. And the lady who used to be this other lady's boss said, I've watched you grow. I remember when you came in, you were a little bit shy. You were not sure about yourself, but I saw you being determined, getting the job done, learning the skills, learning the tactics. And now look at you, you are thriving. And the lady was being talked about, she started crying. And I had to step outside of the room and grabbed Kleenex for her to use. Now, I'm not saying that every single person is going to cry, or at least any person is going to cry when you share with them what they do and how good they are. But it's these moments that bring perspective that people appreciate when you recognize their contributions. So investing in professional development is going to be a very effective way to engage your employees. And this can be as simple as doing in-house trainings when you do a one-on-one or you meet with your team or you bring an external company to come and do the training or You sign them up for online courses. It doesn't matter what you're going to do so long as you're providing this. The fourth thing that you can do to increase employee engagement is to foster work-life balance. Now, this is a subject that people like to debate about. People say there's nothing like work-life balance. There might be some truth. And we use this term because it's the easiest one for people to understand. But I believe work-life balance is all about being in sync with what you are doing. Obviously, at some point, you're going to spend more time at work than you're spending at home. Sometimes you're going to spend more time, not literally at home, but thinking about your personal stuff than you are about your work stuff. As a human being, it's hard for you to separate your personal and your work life. Most of the times, they are intertwined, and that's okay. I believe when it comes to work-life balance is being conscious enough about what's happening. If you feel your personal stuff is negatively affecting your work life, then you need to adjust. If your work life is affecting your personal life, especially when it comes to mental health and stress and not being able to effectively take care of yourself. You have kids, spending time with them. My wife and I, we have kids, and I like to spend time with them. I like to sit down pretty much every morning when I'm not traveling to have a conversation with my daughter, to play with my son. Then I drop off my daughter at school. I like to do that. It's one of the highlights of my day. And I hope you can do that as well. So I'm not going to allow my business and my work to affect that. Sometimes I find myself working long hours, 14 hours, 16 hours. Sometimes I travel for a day or two. So that's going to happen. But I believe when it comes to work-life balance, it's all about being conscious about what's happening with you and not affecting any side of your life, professional or personal. And going back to a statement that a CEO made when I met with them yesterday, she talked to the team and she said, I appreciate what you do. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Don't forget to take a day off if you need to. Don't forget to slow down. That's directly from the CEO. So you as a leader, I believe you should be conscious about that. Help your people to have work-life balance. The fifth tactic that you can use to increase employee engagement is empowering your employees with autonomy. And in this case, I mean giving them the freedom to make decisions. Now, I'm not talking about risking the company or the team or giving too much power to someone who is not trained or who is not knowledgeable, someone who is not competent. The assumption is you've trained them very well, you've coached them, they know how you think, how you process things, how things are supposed to be done within the company. Assuming that they have been trained and they have been consistent and they have a track record, you can trust them with autonomy so they can get things done. Because guess what? When you give people autonomy, they can run, they can move fast, they can get things done. And I don't know about you, but there's power in speed. There's power in getting things done fast. You get to get results, of course, faster. If you are in a for-profit world, and I believe it's applicable in the non-profit world as well, you get results faster, and that's valuable for you. But beyond that, if you're on a mission, which I believe you are, to help as many people as possible, to change lives, then you want to move fast because the faster you move, the better results you get for the people that you serve. So you need to empower your employees with autonomy to make most, if not all, the basic decisions when they are working with you. Number 6, you need to create a collaborative environment. One of the programs we do is how to build an environment of collaboration and teamwork. And one of the things we talk about is you, as a leader, allowing yourself to be okay to allow other people to get into your space. And your space, I mean your leadership space, the major decisions that you make, the strategies that you have, the, the dreams you have for your team, the goals and all the strategic plans that you have, bring them to the table so they can discuss with you. I was talking to one of the leaders and they told me that they like to come up with a plan and then cook it, refine it and make sure it's good before they present to their people. And they said they believe so much in quality and they're so proud of what they can do. They don't think it's okay for them to present a plan that's not complete. And rightfully so, they feel like their reputation is on the line and there's a place for that. And what I shared with them, I said, there's power in sharing with the people what you are thinking and what you're working on. And I suggested, how about you just share with them a little bit of what you're working on and say, I'm excited about this new project. I'm excited about a new plan. I'm excited about a new initiative that you're working on with my fellow leaders. I can't give you all the details, but it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for the team. It's going to be good for the company. It's going to be good for the industry. You just give them a glimpse of what's coming. People tend to get excited about the future. I know, I do. Probably you do as well. So share with them what you're thinking, what you're doing, and what you're working on. So you being able to create a collaborative environment and an environment where people can exercise teamwork is going to be a very effective way to enhance employee engagement. And then number 7 is to listen and act on feedback. There is a program called Coaching for High Performance. And one of the coaching skills that you and I need to master is the skill of actively listening to your people. And what we established is that listening can be a coaching tool. It's called listening as a coaching tool. When you listen to people, they feel respected. They feel like you care about them, and actually you should care about them. So you listen to them actively and then on feedback. When you talk about acting on feedback, we mistaken that for acting or doing exactly what they suggested. Those are two different things. Acting on feedback could be doing what they said or taking it and refining it, making it better, or looking at it and then telling them, I really appreciate this feedback. The timing is not right for us to act on this. I think it can work in the future. Can you keep on working on it? And then we revisit 3 months from now or a year from now. Now, if you promise to revisit it, make sure you actually revisit that. Because if you don't, then that's going to erode all the goodwill that you've built so far. So listen and act on fit. But let me just wrap up with this. When it comes to employee engagement, there's no one tactic that's better than the other. I've given you 7 of those. Go ahead and try as many as possible. And if you can, combination of all those. And when you do that predictably, and I can guarantee this, if you do that consistently on a daily basis, your employees are going to be engaged. The attitude is going to change. They're going to become more productive. They're going to become more efficient. But most importantly, you'll be able to attract and retain the best talent. So if your team is struggling to find good talent, good employees, people that care about the industry and their work, then this is one of the best ways to attract them in addition to all the other things that you can do. So those are the 7 tactics that you can use to increase your employee engagement. Again, all the best in your leadership journey, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video.